Dynasty football franchise, talking about that guy, Hoogie Tyler every week. Heavy analytics, competition real steep. Whoa, that's sweet. Oh, in this belief, Nick so sick, man, bringing ships the whole fleet. Goats, not sheep. Follow every tweet. Don't sleep, always finding sleepers on the street. Boy, F3, winning every single league. Money back guaranteed, but it's free. Welcome to the franchise. Welcome to the franchise. Let's go.
All right, welcome back to the F3 podcast. My name is Sean. You can find me on Twitter at Lanny1925, and I'm here with my co-host Joey.
You can find me at Joey the Tooth IDP. What's going on?
And I'm here with Andrew.
How's it going? You can find me at my dumb Twitter handle at DubsFans02.
Dubs plural. All right, so this was kind of an interesting week. Most of the action happened after the games were over, outside of a few injuries and stuff. Trade deadline's coming up quick, so we're starting to see some players move. Joey, do you have something you want to talk about first here?
I'm going to talk Emmanuel Sanders to San Francisco.
Yeah, you liked this move. I really didn't.
I think it's just good just to get a veteran presence in that locker room for the wide receivers. You need a leader in that group.
Who do you dislike it for, Sean? The team or the player?
The team, the player, just everything all around. I don't really like it all that much because the volume hasn't been there throwing the football. So I don't think Emmanuel Sanders is going to be getting the same volume he was getting over in Denver. I don't think the problem is the wide receivers, so I don't think that this is necessarily going to help the team all that much. And then the price tag for them was a second-round pick, wasn't it?
No, it was a 3 and a 4, and they got back a 5, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
they give the third and fourth. They got Sanders in the fifth, but Sanders is going to be what they were hoping Pettis would have been.
See, and I don't know that the problem is Pettis, though. Like, it's entirely possible that it is, but I still think the problem is Garoppolo right now.
I know you do. I don't.
Did Pettis not see a single target in their latest game?
Well, if you saw the weather was absolutely
that's
terrible.
true.
It was like a freaking tropical storm.
He didn't have a single target.
Really? I thought he had 2 targets, no receptions.
No. Goodwin had no receptions, 1 target.
Kendrick Bourne was the
3
only
for
one that
69.
really.
Yeah.
Pettis didn't see a target, and Debo sat that one, right? He's
an injury.
Yeah. See, I don't mind it for Sanders because I just don't trust the passing offense in Denver. But I think you're right. Like the volume isn't necessarily. He's not going to get the same volume he did. I just feel like they're eventually going to get into a competitive football game. They just haven't. They haven't yet, but at some point they're going to be in a competitive football game, and they're going to need to have somebody that's capable of taking over a game, I think.
Mm-hmm.
See, and I don't know that Emmanuel Sanders is that type of player. I think that we're really overstating his talent. Like, I'm very impressed that he came back from the Achilles injury and is playing well right now, but I don't think he's a top tier receiver in the NFL. Like he's a much better number 2, number 3 wide receiver than he is a number 1.
But what I think this does is open up the game more for Debo and Pettis, because now they don't have to worry about being the number 1 receiver, because before there wasn't really like a clear-cut number 1. With Sanders coming, Sanders is going to come in as the clear-cut number 1, so he's going to get the toughest coverage every game. So this will open up more opportunity for Debo and Pettis just to maybe get into the game flow a little bit more.
Yeah, I guess so. So are either of you guys trying to buy Emmanuel Sanders in Dynasty right now?
No. I did buy him. I did buy him earlier, just out of the price is right. Basically, I got him cheap. But
yeah.
No, I'm not going out of my way to buy him just because of age. Like he's not going to be, whether he's relevant this year or not. He's not going to be relevant 2 years from now.
Right.
Okay, so then are you gonna feel comfortable starting him?
I'll still start him as like my wide receiver 3.
See, and I guess I don't think I'd feel comfortable with him in my wide receiver 3 in a low volume offense where he's probably seeing number 1 coverage.
He's probably going to get some starts for me as like a wide receiver 5.
Yeah, which you're not playing. So
No,
Yeah.
I get a league. I play 5 wide receivers every week.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I guess for me, if anybody out there is excited by this move because they think Garoppolo is better than Flacco and they think that this is going to help his production, I am willing to sell. And I think I'd be willing to sell for a 3rd-round pick at this point. Like, would that get it done for you? Would you sell it for a 3rd?
Yeah, I would.
That'd be close for me. A 2, I definitely take a 2. A 3, I'd be wishy-washy on.
I don't think you're going to get a 2 for him. I don't think there's any chance in hell that you're going to get 2 for a 31, 32-year-old wide receiver
Coming off
moving to a
Achilles.
coming off an Achilles, moving to a new offense. I don't think that's on the table.
Okay.
So, Andrew, you got anybody you want to talk about?
Sanu.
Okay.
Mohamed Sanu. Another wide receiver on the move, and I don't think he's in necessarily a worse spot, but I don't know if he's in a better spot either. Like, he was kind of an afterthought in Atlanta, and I think he's got his work cut out for him to carve a rollout in New England as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, and it's interesting because the Patriots are notorious for like understanding sunk cost. So if they go out there and they don't need him, there's no pressure to play him just because they spent draft capital on him, whereas a lot of teams would feel pressured to play him just to justify their decisions. Belichick gives no fucks. So.
Right. 0 fucks given in the Belichick room.
Were you surprised how much they paid for him?
I am.
That was the 2nd-round pick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very surprising to me. They're always kind of loose with spending picks and trades just because they get so many compensatory picks, and also Belichick is not the best drafter. He's much better at utilizing talent than he is at recognizing talent, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like it was a weird ad. I feel like it's a lot of the same receivers they have. I think Sanu and Jacoby Myers are like the same receiver, but I think Myers is actually might have better hands.
I think Jacoby Myers is a far better route runner,
and he's actually starting to get acclimated into the offense as well.
Yeah. So I mean, you have Jacoby Myers, you have Edelman, you have Sanu, you have Josh Gordon, and then
Dorsett.
You have Dorsett, and you're getting N'Keal Harry back at some point too.
Do you think it was maybe a depth add? Maybe they're a little bit more worried about Harry and Gordon than they're letting on right now, or
it's a good possibility.
That's possible.
Or the fact they're going to run probably like 4 wide, considering they don't have a tight end.
They also get him for 2 years, so that's kind of an interesting aspect of it, where usually these things are trades where you're going to have to sign them to big money, and they're not going to want to do that. So I don't know. It was a strange move, but it gives them a lot of depth, and it just basically, I don't know. Maybe this is him looking at it like this may be our last, like our best team that we've had, and we're going to ensure that we win the Super Bowl and that injuries can't fuck this up.
Always fresh legs on the field.
Do you think do you agree it's the best team? It's the best defense I think I've ever seen New England have.
Since like the Rodney Harrison days.
I think they're better than them.
This is better than that.
Yeah.
Like this is what did I read the stat? This is the 2nd best point differential through 7 weeks in the history of the NFL. Like the first one was like in the 1929 season.
Damn. I think it was 1920.
1920, yeah. It was the Buffalo. It wasn't the Bills. It was like the Buffalo Nationalists or something like that.
It was Buffalo All-Stars. Or All-Americans.
All-Americans.
All-Americans. Yeah, the Buffalo All-Americans.
Okay.
America.
And so it's like they have better point differential than like the legendary Bears teams, the Steel Curtain, the Ravens. And, yeah, they're just they have 18 picks and they've allowed 1 passing touchdown, and it's unbelievable.
Wow, I didn't even realize that stat.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely nuts.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
So, what are you guys doing with Sanu here? Because I guess my move here would be the same thing with Emmanuel Sanders, where I'd try and basically find somebody who is fascinated with him going to a Patriots offense and thinking that they're going to find a way to utilize him on a regular basis and see if I can get anybody to bite on that.
I don't have him in any leagues. I don't think I've ever had him in any leagues.
No.
No, I'm saying if you
Yeah.
did, what would you do with him?
If I could get any draft capital for him, I'd take whatever I could get.
So
Literally,
you take
anything.
you take
I
a
might-
third for him.
I'd take a fourth for him.
I
Okay.
might hold him just to see what happens after this season. If the Patriots go out and they win again, Brady retires, maybe Edelman retires. Who knows what happens if the Gordon is a free agent right after this year?
Okay, but like, do
Is
you
it
want-
possible he falls?
Is,
No.
is him on the Patriots without Brady an appealing prospect?
But at that point, with him moving up the depth chart, he might be easier to move. You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think once Brady goes, that's just like his value's killed. I think
Yeah.
that him moving to the Patriots, the only thing that gives him value is Brady being there. But
Yeah.
I'd take
Yeah,
a fifth for him.
you take a fifth for him.
I'd
See,
take anything.
I take a third for him, and if I can't get a third, then I'm hoping that he has some sort of decent week, and then try and sell then. And if I can't get a third for him, then basically I'm doing what you're talking about, Joey, where I'm holding him, hoping that something happens in the offseason that moves him up the depth chart, and I can get
Right.
some sort of offseason hype for him. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about my Detroit Lions tragic injury, Kerryon Johnson, IR, which basically means he's done for the year because first week he can come back is week 16, and you're not starting him his first week back in your championship week, so he's done for the year for fantasy purposes.
Yeah.
Why would they even bring him back? Like I saw that they were talking about bringing him back. I'm like, why would you bring him back for 2 weeks? If you're, I mean, the way they're moving with the Diggs trade, they're not planning to make the playoffs. They're going to be like, why would they bring him back?
See, and I don't think the Diggs trade is them not planning on making the playoffs. I'm not planning on them making the playoffs, but I think they still are. I don't know. I didn't agree with the Diggs trade at all unless
Right.
they're trying to make some other move. It seemed weird because there was no corresponding move announced, and they now, with Kerryon Johnson going to IR and with Quandre Diggs getting traded, they have 2 open roster spots and no move announced, and it's Tuesday, so I'm not sure what the oh god, please no.
What did you say?
Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, there've been
and-
talks of Kenyon Drake getting traded over there, and like, for fantasy purposes this year, that would be really good for Kenyon Drake owners.
Mm-hmm.
That would also be something where you want to sell him before the year is over, because long term that is not the answer.
Right.
And I'm guessing they're going to bring in a back in the draft this year. At least they should.
Kenyon Drake and Antonio Brown?
No. If Antonio Brown ended up on the Lions, I would find myself a new team, and it'd be a relief. I'd finally get out of this.
That would be the end all right
Disaster
there.
of it.
Antonio Brown would be the end all.
Yep. So yeah, Ty Johnson's interesting right now. It is kind of weird because you could very well drop a bunch of waiver wire budget on Ty Johnson and end up with nothing
Drake
because
starting.
Kenyon Drake comes over. So Jay Ajayi, we'll talk about it in a little bit. That's also probably an option.
CJ
but I mean,
Anderson?
they won't bring CJ Anderson back. There was some ill will there, I think, when he got cut. So
Really?
I don't think that they're gonna bring him back. So
What gave you that impression?
he was pretty salty about it, and then he was getting into it with some Detroit fans a couple of days ago. So it seems like that's just not the right move.
Not happening.
Zach Zenner just got cut by the Saints, former Detroit Lion, fan base favorite. I don't know.
You got J.D. McKissick.
J.D. McKissick, I don't think is going to be a startable player. Even with this injury, he's been seeing the field in a very specific role, and I don't think Kerryon going down changes that role because he's not a full-time runner. They're going to use him in the gadget role that they've been using him in. It's the same role that Bevel used him in over in Seattle too, and nothing has changed there over the past few years.
Do you think Ty Johnson is kind of a 3-down player, or do you think he's just going to be a 2-down player with McKissick coming in for third?
I mean, Ty Johnson can catch the ball, and he's a speed demon.
Yeah. All right.
I don't think he's a 3-down player, but unfortunately, it's the wrong side of the 3 downs.
Right.
I think he's going to struggle to carry a workload, and they're going to have to bring somebody in. So we'll see what happens. I've never been really a huge Ty Johnson fan from a talent standpoint. I wasn't a big fan of him coming into Detroit out of the draft, and I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But Joey, you got someone else you want to talk about here?
I want to talk about Tariq Cohen. Still, he hasn't really been overwhelming by any means, but he did have 12 targets this week, which is kind of a vote of confidence for him. They're trying to get him the ball. Granted, he only totaled, I think, 19 receiving yards of those 12 targets. But if you watched last year, the only time that offense really clicked is when Tariq Cohen was involved during those games. So I think maybe with Trubisky struggling so mightily this year, they may try to get Tariq Cohen a little more involved.
You say that, but Bill Nagy came out in his press conference and said, "I'm not an idiot. I'm not what." Matt Nagy. Sorry, came out.
Yeah, and I'm the idiot.
I'm not an idiot. I know we need to run the football more. So, I don't know, man. That I don't really like. Are you trading for Tariq Cohen right now?
I'm trading. I'm trying to buy him low. I'm trying to buy low on him right now because nobody really has any faith in him at the moment. He still hasn't produced much at all. I mean, he did have 9 catches, but he still only totaled 19 yards.
So I think you'd struggle to get him for a 3rd-round pick right now. I think you'd probably have to send a late second.
You think so?
I think so. Are you
know
willing
what?
to do that?
It depends. It depends on my situation. I don't know. I think I could give a late second for Tariq Cohen because I think even in this season, if he doesn't pick it up, he's still going to be part of the team next year. He's still going to be part of the game plan. I don't see him falling out of favor with that team. If anything, with Montgomery struggling so mightily last week, plus having the fumble, it only gives more confidence to Cohen. They might actually try to give him the ball a little more.
Yeah, and then Cohen. His last year under contract is next year.
Right.
So if you're looking at it long term, he might get some PPR value out of it the next 2 years and then hopefully end up in a better situation in an offense with a quarterback that isn't hot garbage. So, I don't know. Andrew, are you buying, selling? What are you waiting for a sell window?
I'm buying, but probably not for a late second. If you're saying that's the price, I definitely spend a 3rd on him. I'm probably not selling for a late second. So I guess I'm holding where I got him, and I'm probably only buying low on him.
This is why you're impossible to trade with.
I know.
So you don't have like a price point where like your price point is just a black hole void. You're like, okay, either like I value him more than a second, so I won't sell for a second, but I also won't buy for a second.
I'm a buy low, sell high kind of guy, so I don't move guys that I think that are in that
gray area.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so you don't buy at cost is basically what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely not.
You wait for somebody to fuck up.
Yeah, for sure. Mostly what I do is sell for picks. I try to accumulate picks. I have seen this. And
and you love rookies because there was the one day where I was checking the prices. I'm sitting there on chat with him. I'm checking prices on some of his rookies, and he's just like everybody that I'm asking for is multiple 1st-round picks. Or I at least need a 2020 first for this guy. So then he's like, oh, I really like rookies. I'm like, okay, take a look at mine because this is where you value rookies. It's like, I'll definitely sell for these price points. And he's like, nah, I really like draft picks too.
It's like, I'll give you a 3rd for your rookie.
Yeah, it's just like, all right, we're not getting anything done here. But, so yeah, we're gonna take a short break here, and we'll be back to talk some other Dynasty news we got going on. All right, we're We're back, and Andrew has some people he wants to talk about real quick. We got a big clusterfuck of guys here.
Let's talk about Tennessee. Let's start with the Delaney Walker injury. I didn't see it. Was it bad?
He went into the game with a knee or with an ankle injury, and he left the game with a worse case of the same injury.
He's also been dealing with a knee injury this year. It's just, it's adding up. He's been injured the last couple of years. He's 36 years old now.
Yep.
It was last year. He missed most of the season with an ankle, wasn't it? Like, he was a bad ankle last year.
Yeah.
Yes.
It might have been the year before too. It's
really.
He's banged up. He can't stay healthy. He's old. Jonnu Smith played pretty well last year when he was in, and I don't know.
He had a good game this week.
Yeah, he had 63 yards this week on 3 catches even.
This is another guy that I think you can acquire for a 3rd-round pick, and I'm willing to buy him at a 3rd-round pick. Just because
I think you might even be able to get him cheaper, just because when he did have his opportunity, he didn't really break out yet. Like last year, it was a big opportunity for him, and he didn't really produce much.
I think you could have gotten him for cheaper before Delaney Walker got injured again.
Right.
I think now, after a 65-yard game, with the way the tight end landscape is set up, you got to pay a 3rd for it, and I'm willing to pay that for Jonnu Smith because I think he's played well, even if the numbers haven't showed up. And I think this offense, once they get rid of Mariota, which we'll talk about in a minute, is going to be on the up and up. And I think that he's a young tight end in a league where there aren't very many good tight ends. So I think a 3rd-round pick is a good gamble there.
Would you do a 2nd?
I would not, because I think that 2nd-round pick is probably going to be in the range where the top tight ends in 2020 are going to be going, just because the running backs and wide receivers are so deep this year that the tight ends are probably going to get pushed out of the 1st round for the most part.
Yeah.
Would you do Jonnu and a 4th for a 2nd?
I see 4th-round picks are just a crapshoot for me. 4th-round picks, like they're throwaways. Like you're not expecting to get production out of your 4th-round picks.
So are you saying you have Jonnu Smith and you're trying to trade him in return for a 2nd? I see what's going on here.
You want to do a trade on air?
Not for a 2nd, I don't.
I got him in the sleeper league. So you were complaining about me not trading with you earlier, trying to get something done.
I told you what the price point was. I told you it was a 3rd. Joey said it was cheaper, and here you are aiming for a 2nd.
I'm trying to sweeten the pot to get that 2nd.
Sweeten the pot. A 4th-round pick is not a pot sweetener. That's a throwaway. So no, I'm not trying to trade a 2nd for Jonnu Smith.
All right, I'll hold.
Yeah, go right ahead. I think I'm kicking the shit out of you in that league. So.
That's my worst league. That's my worst league by far.
I think I'm in 1st place.
I think it's I can't.
You're undefeated.
I lost one.
Johnny's undefeated, I think. But I think it's because I can't see my team stats. I think that's the big problem. I like to analyze my team, and I can't do it.
You're such a weirdo. You can just click on them and look at their game logs and stuff.
I like to compare them in a like column format where I can actually compare player to player. And
that's the problem. It wasn't at all that you had a terrible draft and drafted.
Build a damn spreadsheet.
Actually, I drafted a really young team. I'm building for the future, so I'm trying to get picks.
You're not doing a good job of it. Have you completed a trade yet?
Yeah, I moved. Who did I move? I think I moved Thomas Davis for a 3rd.
Okay.
I need to get a running back in there. Well, anyway, I don't want to.
No, that's fine. So yeah, I'm buying Jonnu Smith for a 3rd, not for a 2nd, and I'm not taking a 4th to sweeten the pot. Speaking of the Titans, Mariota has been benched.
Yeah.
Hopefully he stays that way because Tannehill actually came in and made people relevant. A.J. Brown and Corey Davis both had really good games.
So I was under the impression that the Chargers had a reasonably good defense. So is that not true, or is Tannehill that much better than Mariota?
Tannehill is that much better than Mariota, I feel.
At least for fantasy purposes.
Right. But the Chargers defense hasn't really lived up to how well it should be playing this year, I feel like. But plus they lost both Adrian Phillips and Derwin James, so the secondary is a little beat
Yeah,
up.
yeah, I guess I get that too. But yeah, so the pass catchers looked really good. Like you said
Yeah.
before, Johnny Smith had 3 for 60. Corey Davis had 5 for 80 and 5 or 6 for 80 and a
And
touchdown.
6 for 80 and a touchdown, and AJ Brown had, I think,
6 for 64.
yeah.
So
This is why I've been buying Corey Davis. I definitely got cold feet about it after I bought a bunch of shares and I continued to play Mariota, but I think he's a good player and he's just been held back by this offense. And I don't know that Tannehill is going to be their quarterback next year, but I definitely don't think it's going to be Mariota.
I don't either.
So this right here, like Tannehill got sent away from the Dolphins. So for Ryan Fitzpatrick and Josh Rosen. So I don't think we should be looking at this situation like this is all AJ Brown and Corey Davis. This is what they're going to be. I think that they can still go up from here too, because I think their quarterback situation can definitely improve this year.
I agree. But I think what sucks now is you did the right move. You bought earlier on Corey Davis, but I think after one game like this with a new quarterback, everybody that has Corey Davis is now saying, I need a first-round pick for him. He's got all the talent in the world.
I think you're probably right. So I think the move here then is because Tannehill's not he's not going to set the world on fire, I don't think.
Right.
So there's going to be games where just AJ Brown produces or just Corey Davis or neither of them produce. And I think what you want to do is kind of test the waters on that. Because honestly, like I'm okay with buying AJ Brown or Corey Davis at this point, depending on the price tag. So I think what you want to do is just kind of play it week by week and see which one has a down week and then just keep trying to acquire and wait till the owner realizes that this is not going to be an every week thing this year, you know?
Right. Yeah, definitely.
And if it is an every week thing, then you just missed the boat and you got to pay it first. And honestly, if this is how they play every week, they're worth a first.
Yeah.
You know? And realistically, like people were spending a first on AJ Brown in the rookie drafts, like people are spending an early first. So knowing that Mariota was going to probably tank his season. So yeah, I think that if you've got a mid to late first, it's probably about what these guys should be valued at, not necessarily what I want to pay for them, because I think you're going to get a better buy window.
Right.
So, we should probably talk about the big one. Mahomes going down.
Yep.
This sucks.
It does suck.
So, this kills. I mean, Sammy Watkins has been dead. This probably kills Mecole Hardman, though, until Mahomes comes back. The only one that I think survives this is Tyreek Hill, and I think it still hits his value pretty hard.
I think it's the only one that survives is Travis Kelce.
I think Tyreek Hill has the speed that he can still get that breakaway touchdown. I think he may be more volatile than he has been, but he's still a must start, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think the volume is going to be there for really any of the receivers. I think they're going to try to rely on the run game a whole lot more. So, maybe this is a good opportunity to go after one of the running backs. But, I mean, even with Hill, you're probably playing him, but you don't feel good about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. This might give you a brief sell window on Damian Williams, who has recently become unplayable since he came back from injury. So, I mean, maybe it gives you a sell window, but I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah.
What do you think you could get for Williams right now?
Right now, I don't know that anybody's trying to acquire him. I think this is a situation where, if anybody is trying to get him, they're lowballing you. They're just sending you a fourth or a fifth. I don't think anybody's willing to pay a third yet. So I think you got to kind of wait and see and hope that Williams goes out and actually has some production alongside Sean McCoy.
I'll give you a third for me, threw me back and forth.
I might do that. I don't think I have him in that
I don't
league,
think you do either.
I'll give him to you I'll give you him in a fifth for a third.
No, give me a fourth.
Do you have him?
I do.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I was going to sleep. That's why I asked. I was like,
throw me back and forth.
I'll think about it.
I mean, his is going to be an early third, and yours is going to be a late fourth.
Right.
What? Are you kidding me?
Plus, I have Shady, so.
Oh, if it's Sleeper League, yeah. If it's the LA League, then I'm right up there with you.
All right, Joey, what do you want to talk about?
Arizona running back situation. David Johnson kind of kicked me in the nuts this week. They said he was good to go. He had 1 carry for 2 yards and then sat down, and it was just Chase Edmonds just destroying life.
You started him?
I did.
And you have him in a lot of leagues, eh? You were all over him in the preseason, huh?
Yeah,
he was. He was big on the first round pick on David, like late startup first round.
I was. I mean,
I was
that
high on
offense,
him, but I never got a chance.
Yeah,
with how strong that offense was. I mean, considering what it was going to be for a passing offense, and he's a great receiver out of the backfield. Plus, he's a good runner, so he was going to be involved, especially with a rookie quarterback.
But he hasn't really been running it successfully, but PPR has been saving him.
Yeah, PPR has been unbelievable. He's still averaging over. I think it was over 100 yards a game total.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's been crushing. But do you think, like, would you say that that Chase Edmonds outperformed him though?
Chase Edmonds looked great, but he also got more volume. Like, he had 27 carries last week. David Johnson has been getting, the whole offense in general had played better last week.
He actually had 27 carries.
I think he had 27 carries last week.
That's ridiculous. But he's not getting the same run in the pass game, which is those touches are worth a lot more, right?
Right. But I mean, I don't think he outperformed. He still, I think it was like 4.6 yards per carry, which is good. It's not terrible, but I think going forward, it's going to be great for Edmonds. He had 27 carries for 126 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Do you think Chase Edmonds has played to the point where when Johnson comes back, it's a committee?
I think it's more of a committee. I don't think it's going to be like any sort of a 50-50 committee. I still think it's going to be David Johnson still dominating the snaps, more or less.
I'm checking his contract right now. Let's see. Oh yeah, David Johnson's under contract for a minute here. So
for what?
I guess actually they can get out after next year from David Johnson. Because in 2021 his cap hits 12 million and his dead cap is 3 million. So that's they're almost certainly going to either have to restructure him or cut him after 2020. So that kind of makes me think that they could be a sneaky candidate to add somebody in the 2020 draft. Just because you have David Johnson for 2020, but then 2021 comes around and you have a younger running back ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, I'm willing to sell David Johnson and Chase Edmonds at this point, because I think both of them hold value. Obviously, David Johnson holds a lot more, but I think that people are going to be in on this Chase Edmonds train after this week, and I think you can sell both of them. And I think I want to do that because unless I need them for a championship run this year, I think they're probably good sells, because 2 years from now, I don't know what the situation is going to be. And if they add a rookie this year, it'll probably look more like a committee next year.
And are you worried at all with David Johnson's injury? Because they haven't really said much about it. And he had 1 carry last week, and then Edmonds came and controlled the game. And then they go out and they sign Alfred Morris.
The butler.
And they worked out Jay Ajayi as well. And then on top of that, he's going to be 28 next year. He's 27 right now. Like, he's getting up there. And I don't know that he's going to be able to sustain a heavy workload, like, going forward. So I don't know. I'm definitely worried about it. And this is why I was not on the same train as you for the David Johnson first round startup. Is just that I was a little more worried about his lack of production the last couple of years, his age, and the fact that his contract is coming up soon. And just 2020 is going to wipe out a lot of guys. And it's David Johnson's talented enough that it won't wipe him out, but it could definitely be a situation where somebody comes in and takes over half the workload. You know,
Sean, aren't you going to be 28 next year? Are you getting up there?
I'm 30 actually, and
oh, you're way up there.
Yeah, I'm well past my my years of being a capable NFL running back.
So, can we get you a new committee though?
No, I don't think so. I'm way past the committee years too.
What about Frank Gore? Frank Gore still got it.
That's a good point. I should talk to Gore, see what he's doing. He's probably working out and stuff, you know.
I think he's just being a god. That's all he is. He's a god.
All right, we're gonna take a real quick break then, and we'll come back to finish up this week's Dynasty Fantasy Football News. All right, and we're back. Andrew, you had something you wanted to talk about here.
Target hog in Oakland, Darren Waller.
He is killing my Hunter Renfrow shares, man.
He really is. He is.
I hate it.
I had a couple of them too.
But even Foster Moreau is getting more run than Hunter Renfrow, right?
Every tight end is. They had 15 targets to tight ends last week.
Yeah, it's super frustrating. So I think Hunter Renfrow is like made for that offense, and I just think that they just want to run out there with 7 tight ends and see what happens.
I mean, it's worked well for their run game. Josh Jacobs has been playing great.
Yeah. So Darren Waller got his extension. What does that do to Foster Moreau for you guys?
I still hold for me. I think, like you said, that they're really featuring the tight end in that offense. So he's still getting opportunity now. As a rookie tight end, you really have a steep learning curve. So I don't think we've seen his full potential. I think he's going to continue to develop. So
and he has played well in the red zone as a rookie.
Like if you look at back in the day when the Patriots had 2 good tight ends, you can have an offense that can feature 2 good tight ends if you have 2 good tight ends. And
Philadelphia.
And realistically, Oakland doesn't have the wide receivers to draw those targets. Hunter Renfrow, I think we all had high expectations of him. He's maybe not getting the run we would have liked, but with Tyrell Williams having the plantar fasciitis, and we all know what happened to their wide receiver 1 from the preseason.
Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I think they're going to continue to just force balls to Waller, and it's been working for him.
Yeah.
Nice to see him.
Unreal.
Nice to see him catch a touchdown or 2 this week, yeah?
Yeah. And he's kind of got that little bit of a feel-good story. Beat addiction, come back, make himself a spot in the NFL, and get himself an extension. Good for him.
And apparently, I don't know if maybe this is a made-up story, but he apparently recorded a rap album in the offseason, and they were like playing his songs like during training camp and stuff.
Really?
Yeah. And he's like the guys love him apparently in the locker room. Like he's a popular guy, and like you said, good feel good story. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, same here.
So I don't know if this is accurate or not because SpotTrack did not have Darren Waller's updated contract. So I'm on overthecap.com right now. They have his guaranteed salary at $2.965. It looks like all of his guaranteed money, though, is this year. I seriously doubt that's right. But if that is right, then basically the guarantees are non-existent after this year. So that's something to look into because if that's true, then basically his contract is just for team options. It's just team options, basically. Oh. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see if the details on that contract come out. But I don't know. So, like, would you be willing to buy Foster Moreau anywhere right now?
What's the price?
What would you be willing to pay right now to acquire? Like, what is the maximum? Like, someone's busting your balls, draft pick only. Would you pay a mid 3rd round pick?
I love my picks, Sean.
Okay, would you pay a late 3rd round pick?
No.
Yeah, I'm not paying any more than a 4th for him.
Would you pay an early 4th?
No.
Yeah, sure. It's
got to be a mid to a late for me. I'm not really that huge on him. I mean, he could easily just be replaced next year.
All right, fair enough. All right, then Joe Mixon, tragedy.
Give us the stat.
Yep, you both gave it to me earlier. I loved hearing
Yeah,
it.
I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but it was something like he had 2 yards and 17 yards after contact. So basically, like he's just getting hit behind the line and like struggling to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Oh, it's so poor. I
It
feel
is.
so bad for this guy. He's so talented, and he's just stuck on a team that's garbage. It's
Do
a
you guys
freaking heap of trash.
do you guys remember the days when anybody that coached with Sean McVay was going to be a head coach prodigy in the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like yesterday, you mean?
Yeah. What happened to Cincinnati's head coach? I don't even can't think of his name. Zach.
Something.
Oh, come on.
Taylor,
That
I don't know.
actually sounds right. Actually.
why are you surprised? Thank you. I appreciate it. That's like a subtle dig. I appreciate that.
All right.
Zach Taylor. Good pull.
So if we're looking at Joe Mixon's contract, his last year of his contract is next year. So this is obviously just a dumpster fire for Joe Mixon right now.
Mm-hmm.
Next year he's going to be 24. He's going to be in the same offense. They're not getting rid of him, and the offensive line is probably not going to be vastly improved next year. So I think now is a good time to start trying to buy him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that everybody who owns Joe Mixon is leaving him on the bench.
Yeah.
Like, you can't start him right now. So I think a lot of these owners of Joe Mixon would be willing to just try and get out from him. And I think you just have to suffer through 1 year of this, basically.
I agree.
So I think this is a good buy opportunity because he is really talented, and I would seriously doubt he re-signs with Cincinnati.
Do you spend a first on him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting him for less than first.
I agree.
And you're willing to spend that on the off chance that he stops sucking?
He's got it on the off chance that Cincinnati gets better.
No. I'm not expecting Cincinnati to get better. I'm willing to spend it because you're looking at 1 year away when he's going to be somewhere else. And in the meantime, you just kind of hope that you get RB2 production out of him somewhere along the way.
But aren't you the one that's always saying that people are losing their jobs at the 2020 class? Like, is somebody else gonna sign him after they draft somebody in the 2020 class?
So
I think so.
I
think
with
Nixon's
the 2020,
good enough.
He's very talented. And the thing is that I'm not so much worried about the people that are going to be free agents after the 2020 class as I am about the people that could lose their jobs to a 2020 running back, because all these running backs that go to free agency, they typically get signed by teams that need running backs because you're not paying a running back if you don't need one.
Right.
And I think the Bengals have so many other things they need to fix. They are not a team that's going to be in a market for a running back. So I think he avoids the 2020 class, and then he gets to sneak out and go somewhere that needs him in 2021.
Are you surprised they're not using him more in the passing game? Like, that would mitigate some of the futility of the offensive line if they use him in the screening game.
Yeah, it absolutely would.
Yeah.
I think the whole offense is just a dumpster fire right now.
Alex Erickson had 137 receiving yards last week.
I was gonna bring him up. Do you think that's legit? Is he?
He has 20 targets in the past 2 games. 6 2 weeks ago, 14 this week. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Last week was Auden Tate season, and now all of a sudden Alex Erickson gets 14 targets out of nowhere.
And for 137 yards.
I'm still on the Auden Tate train. I was a huge fan of his tape coming out, and the fact he went undrafted was just like nonsense to me. And now he's playing, and he's playing well. So I am definitely more on the side of Auden Tate than Alex Erickson.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about Tyler Boyd? I think he had 5 catches on 14 targets. That was a dumpster fire.
Very inefficient.
Very inefficient, but that target share is really nice. I think that target share is probably going to continue. They're going to keep throwing the ball, and I'm looking for a window to sell him because he's living on volume, and I don't think he's that talented. And I think that a lot of people are still very enamored with him because a lot of people really liked him coming out, and he had his third-year breakout. So I would be selling Tyler Boyd. I'd be buying Auden Tate, and I'd be holding Alex Erickson.
Do you think AJ Green plays for the Bengals this year?
I don't.
I don't either.
Okay.
But if he doesn't get traded, because the Patriots were one of the teams that were looking into him, the Packers as well, I believe.
So were the Niners.
A second-round pick for AJ Green would have made way more sense than a second for Sanu.
Yeah. And I think the Bengals should take that because they're not going anywhere this year. AJ Green's not getting any younger.
Yeah.
Brandon Cooks is another one that looks like he might move too.
Wow.
But I don't know. Those are just rumors. So we got two more to talk about here real quick. Will Fuller hurt.
Pulled hamstring. Kiki Kuti season again.
Yeah. Will Fuller is good, but he's been hurt chronically through his career.
And it's a hamstring. The hamstring keeps coming back.
I don't even think that Will Fuller is that good, to be honest. I think he's just fast, and I think that he gets the right type of targets, which is great for fantasy, obviously. But for your long-term projection, it's something that a team is not super confident in, and it's something a team can move on from, which is fine for your immediate fantasy value, but not fine for your long-term and all the hamstring injuries and all that stuff and his bad hands. And I don't know. If you can find a window to sell Will Fuller, sell him.
Are you on Kiki Kuti or Kenny Stills in his absence?
Neither. I'm just hoping this helps DeAndre Hopkins.
Duke Johnson.
Maybe he'll get an ADOT more than
please
7
get
yards.
Can we please get Duke Johnson on the field? Like,
Jesus Christ,
man.
That's what I'm saying.
Last one then. Kirk Cousins coming to life.
God.
MVP candidate, Kirk Cousins.
Jesus. Not likely. Would not count on it. But yeah.
So hang on. Is Aaron Rodgers an MVP candidate?
I mean, I think it all depends on where they all end up in the standings and stuff. If the Packers win the NFC North in spectacular fashion, then yes.
Because I saw a really interesting comp between Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins is actually above him in several significant quarterback metrics.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stafford's crushing all of them. It doesn't matter though. It's all about wins for MVP.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this is, I think, a good opportunity. I mean, Thielen just got hurt, but I think as long as Cousins is playing well, it's a good opportunity to sell Thielen if you're not a contender.
I just bought Thielen.
You just bought Thielen? Are you a contender?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm totally cool with that move. Diggs is crushing it. I don't trust Diggs' health. So he's one that I'm not buying, and honestly, you can't really sell him if you're a contender. If you're rebuilding, I can't.
Diggs?
I like Diggs. I don't trust his health.
See, I feel like he is a top 5 wide receiver in the league. And on talent.
Maybe. I don't trust his health though.
But yeah, he gets banged up a lot, and when he does play when he's banged up, he doesn't perform. If he plays injured, he doesn't perform.
He does have bad splits when he's questionable.
I also don't know that he's top 5. I'd say top 10 is reasonable. Top 5 is pushing it.
Okay.
He's a great route runner.
He's a great route runner.
He's ridiculous. He's got wicked hands. He's got good yak. I don't know. I put him. So he came in the same class as Murray Cooper, and I'm a huge Murray Cooper fan. And I think Diggs was like a 5th round pick that year.
Right.
Does that sound right? Fifth round?
Something like that. It was later.
He was just so heavily overlooked, and I feel like he's in the same conversation as Amari Cooper.
Yeah, definitely. Amari Cooper stays healthy though.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Host on the F3 podcast. You can find us on YouTube at Writer Digest Network. Writer spelled Reiter. You can find our written content at idpguys.org and at dynastyfootballdigest.com. We offer a $1 a month subscription there where you can get tools, rankings, combined offensive, defensive ADP, trade calculators, start sit charts, and access to our Slack channel where you can basically ask us anything. So again, you can find me at Lanny1925 on Twitter. You can find Joey at Joey the Tooth IDP, and you won't find Andrew because his Twitter handle is nonsense.
At Dubsman, so too.